Danny Segura for MMAJunkie.com. I'm joined by Mackenzie Dern, who will be taking on Hannah Cifers this weekend at the UFC event in Las Vegas. Mackenzie, how are you doing? And how does it feel to be back in training camp and getting ready for a fight here in just a few days?
Yeah, it feels good. I feel good. I'm doing good. Of course, like everything that's happening with the, coronavirus and everything, it's a little bit crazy. It's not like the best conditions, but I'm so grateful to be able to like have a fight and be working and everything because I know a lot of people, have been out of work for a long time. So really grateful, and I know everyone's in the same kind of situation, same boat. So it's kind of cool that we're going to be able to show a little bit, I think, like technique wise, because, not everyone has like the best cardio right now. Not everyone has had the best training, So I think it's going to be like really like kind of just strategy and technique and all that type of thing. So it's cool.
Yeah, certainly not the ideal training conditions for anybody. Not the ideal conditions for anybody really in the world. Um,
Yeah.
but so, how did you do training camp? I know you've switched around camps throughout your career a bit. Where did you do this camp for, and how did it go?
Yeah, I was doing at a Black House MMA. Because of everything, my dad was able to come out and stay a couple weeks with me here in California or there in California. So I was really happy to be able to have him a lot with me for this camp. And thankfully, like the Black House too, they were able to open the academy just for me and a couple of other professional athletes, fighters who were fighting. So I was able to get a couple sparrings. It wasn't like so in my garage or anything like that. I was able to have, at least we have a ring there. We have mats, a good mat space, bags, and everything. So was good. Just I think the physical strength training part was a little bit hard. Kind of a lot of my own body weight stuff and outside and kind of a little bit natural kind of thing. But what's good? I'm feeling good and I'm really excited to be fighting.
Nice. Now, this is also your not your first camp because not your first camp as a mom, but maybe your first camp as a mom with, I guess, a bigger child, right?
Yeah.
How has that been like? Because I know for your last fight, it was all fairly new to you, right? Motherhood. How has that been like training now while being a mom as well?
Yeah, it's crazy because it seems like every stage for Moa, my daughter, is like has its different goods and downs and stuff like that. When she was younger, she was breastfeeding, so that was a little bit harder. All the time she wanted to be with me, and just the weight wise, milk and everything like that. But she was just easy. She sleep all the time, and that's it. Now she's like running around and she wants to play, and so you kind of have to be a little bit more active. But she just eats regular food and everything. So it's good. It's great with the whole everything going on. We staying more at home. I get to like really enjoy the time with her more than I did on my last camp. The last camp she stayed a lot like with me, but when I was training, I didn't really see her that much. Now I get to like as soon as I'm done training, go home and I get to stay with her like the rest of the day. So it's good. I'm excited. But then at the same time, the first time I'm staying along away from her, I've never been more than 24 hours away from her. And now for Vegas, they said I couldn't bring her. And I'm, oh my gosh, now I'm staying 5 days away from her like all at once. So, but I'm talking to her all the time. She's totally fine without me. So I just gotta grow up.
Now, something interesting was for last fight. You said, and you've had some weight issues in the past, but for last fight, you said that the pregnancy actually helped you get down in weight, and you made weight successfully and quite well. Has that carried on onto this camp? How is your weight situation now, a few days removed from the fight?
Oh my gosh, Danny, it's so good. It's crazy. I don't even like. It's really crazy. I can't even like explain it honestly because she like stopped to breastfeed now. So I always thought that the breastfeeding. Always trying to make up like some type of excuse like why how it helps so much, because of all like my past. And people say, oh, the breastfeeding it helps your metabolism and everything. And now for this fight, she stopped breastfeeding. But yeah, I woke up this morning 117, so I have like 1 pound for 116 in 3 days, and for 115 just 2 pounds. So like I'm feeling good. The weight's good. I'm really happy about that. But I can explain it. I think honestly, I think because this fight I wasn't able to gain so much muscle that I wanted to before I got pregnant. Before I got pregnant, I had like thicker legs and I was bigger. During my whole pregnancy, everything, I lost a lot of muscle and after my last fight, one thing I wanted was to gain a lot of muscle. But since all the academies were closed, I didn't get to gain that much muscle. But as long as the weight is good, as long as I can try and put that whole not making weight in my past, I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting. So it seems that you felt like your body changed because you're obviously a world class athlete, so you monitor your weight and everything going on in your body. It almost feels like you're saying that like after pregnancy, you felt almost a big difference between your weight and sort of your body mass and all that when it comes down to cutting weight.
Definitely, definitely. Like before, I was like, usually I walk around 130 before. Then like when I was missing weight, I was getting up to like 150 in between fights. I was like way thicker, like stronger legs and everything. Then during my pregnancy, I wasn't like the pregnant, mom lifting weights and everything like that. I was
Mhm.
totally like, okay, vacation. Let me just take in this time being pregnant, and like maybe I need this rest with my mind and just from all the years of training. And then I think she just kind of sucked everything out of me. And now I feel like I started at zero. I'm started back at zero. My body's like a clean slate. And now I can start to, okay, I want to, work my legs, work my arms, okay, start to gain my muscle back and just kind of add on to it. So I feel like it kind of started me over at zero. And now I wonder how it's going to be like in the next year, if it's going to change, how I'm going to feel.
Mm.
I feel like my metabolism is way faster now too.
Yeah.
So it's definitely crazy to see how everything is going. I'm not doing like the whole dehydration, water loading and cutting and all that stuff. So I don't think my body's feeling like, oh, I'm scared she's gonna starve or anything like that, and I think it's just kind of like lets it. Okay, you're cutting weight, you're eating a little bit less. That's fine, and so it's crazy to see this difference.
Yeah. And I guess how is it like getting ready for a fight and knowing that your weight is on point and not only you don't have to worry about, hitting the scales and making weight on Friday, but also, the fan backlash is never fun. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Obviously I haven't experienced that, but I imagine it's not fun. So how is it like training for a fight, getting near the fight day, knowing that that's behind you, not only for you personally, but also kind of, I guess, for social and what other people are saying and talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't like confirm that it was because of that, but in my mind, I think that me missing weight, like I lost a lot of good sponsor opportunities, and so just even and the fans are always going to talk about it. I mean, it wasn't one time that I didn't make weight, so I know it's going to take a long time for me making weight and the fans like finally forget about that and say, okay, yeah, it's changed. Okay, maybe she's got it more under control now, and just kind of leave that behind and maybe criticize me on my fight, on my my technique, whatever, but so I think like just to be able to like, okay, maybe start to get the sponsors and everything to you know think, okay, she's a different athlete, she's a mom fighter, like maybe she's more stronger and all these things. And then yeah, just my mind wise, I just scheduled my appointment for the PI today, and I'm like so excited that I'm going to the PI to get like a massage and like recover my body, and not going to the PI to stay in a sauna or to do any of these things, so it's way more relaxing and kind of be able to keep that confidence and like, okay, I'm ready for this fight, I'm gonna be like more prepared. I'm not going to be sore in the fight from like killing myself or trying to make the weight. I'm going to be really good because I have like, massage and my muscles are recovered, and, I'm going to be hydrated. So it just makes me a more confident fighter, honestly.
Yeah. And the a lot of talk surrounding your last bout, or at least entering the fight, was your comeback after the pregnancy. A lot of people saying it was too soon, but you obviously it felt great. You made it the weight, and you were saying that you were 100% ready for the fight. Looking back at that experience, did you think you came back too soon, or you still believe that you were 100% ready to go that night?
No, I think I was ready to go that night. Amanda was better than me on that day, so I'll do credit to her. If it was an injury, sooner or later I'd have to come back after an injury, if I had a knee surgery or whatever. So I think just the fact that it was a pregnancy and people think that a pregnancy is like way worse than an injury or something like that. I don't know. So they think that that's why I lost, or just trying. I think people just trying, and maybe it's good. People like expected me to win, and they really believe in me, and they believe everything I have to show. And I think they're sad maybe that I lost, or oh, see, the hype train was fake or anything like that. But man, sooner or later I could lose. So for me, the fact that it was 4 months after the pregnancy, or if it was during like a whole win streak, um, doesn't make a difference. Like I know I did my best to prepare. I felt good going into the fight, and that's it. On to the next. Hopefully, I don't have another loss.
Yeah. And now that you're no longer undefeated, was the loss, obviously nobody wants to lose, but was the loss almost a sense of relief? Because right from the beginning, you've had a lot of expectations on you, given your background in jiu-jitsu, and your popularity. Was the loss almost a blessing? Do you feel that way, in the sense of taking pressure off your shoulders, and now you can just move freely into your career and not worrying like, oh, the when's that gotta go, and all that talk?
No. For me, I like being undefeated. Honestly, like for me, like I like the pressure. For me, the pressure, like, okay, yeah, everyone's watching, everyone wants me to win. I gotta like prove them right, or prove them wrong. The more you're winning, the more people want to see you get taken down. The more they put you to fight, the more they, just sponsors and everything. So, for me, definitely the loss wasn't good. I would prefer that this loss come a little bit more in the future. But hey, it is what it is. And like I said, it didn't change too much for me, like in my mind as a person. But I know that for a lot of the other people, changed a little bit. But that's what we got to do. Gotta use it and take it and try and forget about it.
Certainly. And as far as the experience itself, any changes that were added to your career, to the way you train after that experience? Anything you're now doing differently after that defeat?
um
Or maybe lessons learned?
Man, honestly, like, I mean, I think the training wise, like training was good, of course. For me personally, I felt a little bit like when I had a strong exchange with her, I like kind of stepped back and said like, oh man, that hurt, I don't want to get knocked out, and before I didn't feel that. Before I had gotten pregnant, it was kind of like you feel it and like, okay, I'm still going forward and everything. And then I felt like a little bit hard to recover on the fight. So honestly, like going into the next camps that I wanted to do, I wanted to like do a lot of sparring. But with the whole virus thing happening, it ended up being really the same as the last one. Of course, I think I'm lucky to have I was able to have sparring for my fights. A lot of people I know barely had sparrings. But yeah, the whole pandemic thing kind of put me back on a little bit similar to just doing the best we could with the conditions and everything we are. But lessons learned, just stay focused and train, and kind of showed me like to really just forget about all the critics and what everyone says, because honestly people don't know anything what they're talking about. Like as the other fighters, they know like what they see, but they don't know what people are feeling and anything like that. So no one knows how I feel or stuff like that. So just kind of shrug off whatever they say and focus on me.
Yeah, for sure. And as far as your opponent, Hannah Cifers, what have you made of her within your studies, and sort of getting ready for this bout? What is your assessment of her, and where do you think your strengths lie in this bout?
Oh, definitely like the ground. I think the ground, at least from the fights that I saw her on the ground, I think that's more like her weaker spot.
Hmm.
And obviously that's my strongest spot, so I want to play on my strongest spot. But thankfully, like she's such a tough girl. She has a lot of fights in the UFC, so I was able to see a lot of her fights actually, because there's tons of them. Um, I got to see like her winning and her losing, so it was really good. I think just trying to take her to the ground. I don't know like how much she's gonna respect like my striking or even my ground. She's really scared. I don't think she's too scared of that many things. She seems pretty tough, like in all her fights. So I need to be careful with her right overhand. It's really strong. But yeah, I'm excited, and just take care to not get knocked out and take it to the ground.
Yeah, and a lot is made about how strong she is. I mean, apparently she's a very strong individual physically, but I mean, you've gotten in grappling, you've gone against Gabby Garcia and very big ladies as well. I guess when you hear that kind of talk, like, oh, she's physically strong, you kind of scuff that, given that in jiu-jitsu you're constantly facing bigger opposition all the time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for sure, you can never like underestimate anyone. No, I mean, always going with someone who's tough, strong. Um, it's you have to be careful. You can't fall in like a bad situation. I think that's gonna be my goal, is to never be like in a bad situation. Of course, I'm gonna feel her strength. She's probably stronger than me, but yeah, like you said, it's nothing to be like too. Honestly, like stronger than Gabby Garcia, I don't think she'll be. So, I mean, stronger than my dad, who I train with every day. I've been through like way tougher, in strength wise, opponents in training. So I'm prepared for everything. And yeah, like I said, I'm not underestimating. I'm gonna make sure I'm not like on the bottom and she's on top of me. Just hugging my head and stuff like that. But I think definitely, as long as I can get my jiu-jitsu going, everything's gonna work out.
Yeah. And lastly, anything you've picked up during quarantine as far as hobbies or anything like that? I know you have a kid that's obviously very time consuming, but any new hobbies or any new things you've picked up while in lockdown?
Um, I mean, I live like in Huntington Beach, so a lot of the beaches were shut down. But our beach was like the only one that was open. So, I mean, it's not a new hobby, but I was able to like really be able to surf a lot. And I mean, I love surfing. I mean, it's so cold, obviously, the water, but I love saying there's like tons of sharks that were passing by, like this last couple of weeks. So it's just kind of good to be able to get a little bit, closer to nature and all that stuff. I was really missing that. I always training and everything inside the gyms, and I was able to like really surf more, and that's something I really like to do.
You said you saw sharks while you were surfing?
Yeah,
How
me,
close?
my dad, my husband, like maybe like 2 or 3 times.
Okay. Was it close or was it far?
Um, kind of close, far, like not too far.
Okay.
It was pretty close, like to
Okay,
see like
that's
a
that's
big
that's scary. Did you guys leave the beach after that, the
big
water
fish.
for a bit, or?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
definitely. But it's a cool experience.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, Mackenzie, I appreciate the time. Best of luck this Saturday against Hannah Cifers. Looking forward to that bout. I'm sure it's going to be a good one. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was great talking with you guys.